what Ernie would think about you knocking up a 14-year-old girl.
Probably say, go for it, man.
Who knows? I don't know. It's contradictory to
Well, the
the
judges
predator
never
hunter.
sat there and gave that any credence.
I think you're
And you
probably
do.
going to have to put together a good case for
Judge
Ernie
did.
to
I mean, in the
capture
day
the
and
temper.
light of everyone being charged back then with the least bit of it, the Fox trial where the guy was interrogated for 48 hours without sleep in order to get a confession out of him, stuff like that. That all happened in Will County, dude. So anything you want to sit there and say about the credibility of Will County is destroyed,
Uh,
especially when it was the same prosecutors as a Fox trial. No, you can't do that, dude.
well, there's a
You can't
question
sit
coming in
there and
from chat
say,
for you.
and document their activity as being malicious, and then say it wasn't malicious to me. You can't do it, especially when you've got those incomplete records.
Can you ask Rex if it's difficult to afford his Biktarvy when having no health insurance?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what a Biktarvy is.
I have no idea. And what does health insurance got to do with it?
Your leg. So what did they do to your leg? What did they say that the problem was?
Femoral artery collapsed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really? So they had to go in there and put a stint in and rebuild it, or did they just
they
bypass
tried.
it?
I've gone through 3 different surgeries, but again, I mean, why is this your business?
Well, because you keep talking about it. That's all.
No,
And
I finally mentioned it last night when I was asked how come I just don't sit there and go full Rambo on people. Okay, so there's 2 reasons. One, I have self discipline. Two, I you know I don't look for fights. They do.
well, if you
They're
had to,
looking
you
for to
could still
cause
move
fights
pretty
all
quick.
over the place, but I don't.
Can you walk quickly?
How far?
That's probably a no then.
Well, 10 or 15 yards, sure. I could actually run 10 or 15 yards.
So
That doesn't mean not in pain afterwards. Does that mean I'm completely disabled? No.
you're not in pain?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in pain, but it's dull. It's something I can learn to ignore.
So what do you tell Tommy to stay there to cook all your food? How does Tommy look after you in that sense? Do you have to embellish the story a little bit? Like, how are you going to
No,
heal from this and look after yourself?
there isn't any story to embellish.
All right. So is it just a blown out of proportion that maybe Tommy's doing too much because of this injury of yours?
Oh, Mayor Soup, you're going to have to find out. But I don't. I wouldn't expect you to get any information from these morons. So go do
That's
your
right,
own
Mayor Steve.
research. Dude. I mean, as far as these guys are concerned, all this bullshit that they try to put off, my name is spelled with a W, not an R, because I Rex everything for them, and it's coming to fruition. So
Wrexham. Wrexham Frederickson.
yeah, wrecked them.
Rectum has an R. Jim, you're saying that the fact that Rex said what he said, then tried to deflect from its having knocked up a 14-year-old shows how utterly disgusting he is.
No,
Rex
what's really
is proud
disgusting is you sitting there
of his son.
fantasizing the time that I
He
spent with
thinks
my
he was a
wife.
stud,
That's
not a
what's
pet.
fucking. That's what's fucking disgusting. Is you sitting there fantasizing about the time I had with my wife.
I'm just reading
Okay,
this.
so that's really sick, dude. You can't have a relationship of your own except with a man, and now you're fantasizing about having a relationship with me over my wife. That's sick, dude. That's twisted. But then again, I mean, it's your show, man. You can demonstrate
Oh,
however
shit.
ignorance you have.
Oh, thank you, Jim Rhodes. Oh, maybe
Oh
maybe
yes,
you're right in this one.
that was funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. Your reaction makes me laugh. He can't even let the dogs out. He orders his slave Tommy to do that. That's what we've been noticing. Maybe we're looking at it the wrong way, but maybe Tommy really enjoys it. You never know.
Well, we haven't found you or discovered you, or you're guilty of looking at anything the right way. So why would we expect that now?
So you came up here. How did David You're alleging that David already violated his TRO in that sense.
Figure it out. Yeah, he did.
In what way exactly?
Shit's blind, dude. Shit's blind. That was over. It was over within 10 minutes of them getting it. So, I don't have to worry about that. It's done. And it's nothing I have to do with. It's an automated system that the government has, and it's the government thing. It's automatic. It just simply happens.
Okay.
So,
Well, what is this story about you drowning a cat?
Irrelevant. Nothing to do with anybody.
But you
So
did.
why would you
That's
want to
bad.
sit there and talk about drowning cats when we have so many of these wonderful adult topics to talk about? Like Trump cutting off the U.S. aid to these paid individuals and stuff like that. The groups falling apart. Okay, Dunning-Kruger crying in his soup. Okay, let's talk about something that's more interesting, dude. I'm sitting here watching this entire fake system that has developed on YouTube fall apart, and you're acting like it's not. I mean, you should at least pick up on that. Everyone's falling apart, dude, because they're financing left. They were financed. I wasn't financed by them. You see, when you're irrelevant and you are just a tool, it shows, don't it?
Oh, welcome back, Ernie. So it's
Look
postponed
on
now.
Dunning-Kruger for a
They
work.
want to move it down to. They want to move it to 2:00 to give everybody a chance to come in. People are still coming in from the road. We got people from Texas. We got people from Arkansas. We got people from Ohio. We've got a few people that's not made it in here.
All right.
So yeah, they're postponing things right now. But the weather's been really bad too. In Kentucky they got hit with a storm, and it's just been a bad area. It's cold,
Snowstorm?
freezing thing. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
All right.
So
All right, well,
Rex, give me a biography. Give me something about you. Who are you? What? I didn't get to ask you that earlier.
That's actually a very broad question, but thank you. I'm next to a nobody that has actually been there when some very strange things have happened. I've always been the guy that's picking up the floors, cleaning up the shop. But the only reason why I was there to do that and not charging anybody is because I was fascinated. I was fascinated by the way things were put together, how to fix things, how to break them, break them and then refix them. That's who I was. I've been the gentleman that had the world
Rex,
record.
he's not trying to date you. He wants your professional expertise.
Ask you. The guy that had the shortest takeoff and landing ever recorded, a guy by the name of Dave Sears. I worked in his hangar for a long time as a helper there. We built several.
Well, let me ask you a few questions. Just hold up a second. What's this about you being an RSO? Is that true?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely on paper.
On what? What's the deal? What's the deal with that? What happened? Give me a brief about it.
The actual thing, but to put it in parallel, I will, and I have many times. And they say, "Oh, well, that's not true," and stuff. It is true. Okay. Basically, what wound up happening is the same thing as a girl with a fake ID at a bar. Okay.
How old?
She was 17.
17 years old. How old was you?
You're already lying to him, Rex.
27 at the time.
Okay, so you're 27 years old.
The paperwork shows that she was 12, 13, 15, and 17 in the police record. That's what it shows. What can I do about it?
The police record ain't what you would go by on that. That would just be the police report, which that could be later defined in an investigation. And court would actually determine. They would actually have papers on how old the age of the victim. NSOPW would actually pull that up. So if you pull that up, NSOPW, and you pulled your...
I've told this story with the final blow, and it's this.
And listen, if you pull... AB, you can do this right now. If you pull NSOPW up right now and you put his zip code in, it's going to bring him up. It's going to say the age of the victim and all that.
It was on her 15th birthday.
But that's not factual. That's part of the problem. You'll see
what NSOPW is because it's the Department of Justice.
No, it's submitted by Illinois, based on Illinois records, and then
the
submitted
charge
to
is
the
under
Department of
16.
Justice.
Ernie.
If you're on paper, and you're an RSO, that ain't state. That's federal. That's a federal level.
Well, I don't. Again, you may know more about it than I do in that aspect.
I do.
But,
Let me ask
know,
you a question. Are you on paper for 10 years or 20 years? Are you on paper for 10 years or 20 years?
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was the actual charge?
I don't remember. It was aggravated abuse or something.
Aggravated. Do you know what aggravated?
Oh, yeah,
Aggravated is
I
with
do
some
know.
kind of object.
Yeah,
Aggravated is with an
It
object.
was
I'm
aggravated
20
because there was
years since
grooming
this
involved.
happened to me, and it was wrong. Okay,
It was
I've been
aggravated
20
because
years of
there was
study
substances
of
involved.
everything that you want to talk about. But when you tell me that that goes into the DOJ, that information came from Illinois, which was originally not fake, but false.
Hold on one second. Okay, hold up a second. What's your zip code? What was your zip code?
Mine
All
now.
I need is, it don't matter what it is. Are you compliant right now with everything, with your address and everything, your zip code?
Yeah, I'm all up to date.
Okay, just give me, all you gotta do is give me a zip code.
That's the problem. I don't know the zip code out here. I think it's 80524.
80524. Give me, okay, where you're on paper at, what was the zip code there?
60441, I think. It'd be
60441. Okay.
yeah, Romeoville, Illinois.
Illinois. What is it called? What's the name of the city?
I'm sorry, Romeoville.
What? Romeoville.
You're going to surprise me. You're going to find something. I'm going to be more than happy because I would love.
Yeah. What is your name? I'll look it up right now. I'll find it right now. I'm right here to database. I'm right here to database. I'm in a federal database right now.
Hey, it's printed all over this show. Rex Frederickson. Without me, he wouldn't have any content.
I got you. Hold on a second. Hey, but give me about 5 minutes.
No problem.
Dude,
no problem.
listen, dude, I appreciate your effort. What you're going to find is not pretty. Okay. And I'm not saying that about me being not pretty. I'm just saying about the system not being pretty. Okay. There it says in the actual police record, it shows that it had two bestest friends of hers while she was being attacked in the same room. No comment from either one of them. Okay. So where is it? This is how things are done by the police in order to push things through when they're that fucked up.
Well,
and my father had Alzheimer's and dementia. It was more important in order to take care of him than it was in order to sit there and fight until I wound up in jail again. They already had me in jail for a long time. Okay, depriving my father of any care. Okay, my neighbors had to come over and take care of my father while I was in jail. Okay, my aunt had to finally bail me out, and she was on Social Security herself. So, yeah, and there was a lot of pressure on me in order to resolve it, in order to take care of my father. He died in 2004.
When did your mom pass away?
Thank God I don't remember that date. April 4th, 2004. I won't forget. Too many words involved. April 4th, 2004, my father passed away. And I was by his side every minute that I was allowed to, all up until the last week of his life.
It says that Rex took her into the bedroom alone. Do you want me to pull that up for Ernie? I'll go look for it.
It doesn't say that. It's from her testimony. It shows that her two bestest friends were in there. So Taz never read it either. So go read it, figure it out yourself. 14, 15 people, up to 17 people, depending on what time of day she would like to claim that's supposed to happen, because it never happened. Okay. So, anywhere from 12 to 17 people being in the room. Okay. Where's their statements?
12 to 17.
And not only that, tell me what day it actually happened on. They should at least have the day that it happened on, not some time in the last 3 months. It should have been a day involved there. There was none. So if you have the ability to look at these reports and understand them, go look. Don't speculate. Go look.
So here's the reports right here. Case report
Yeah, and
number
and it was something that's
01-1800.
funny is the guy that posted these actually bothered to read them afterwards, and he retracted what he said. So I mean,
Desert Sentinel is
people
dead. No, he didn't.
there's been some people that have been misled by you and others.
This isn't misleading.
Okay.
We're just looking through the paperwork relevant to your case.
That I sit there and talk to children in the fucking parking lot making stuff up, and you're saying that it's not required in order to continue your bullshit?
Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay, I got it. You got it. Hey, hold up. I got it right here. NSLBW 80524, Romeo Julio 60444, Statute 720, ILCS 5.0 12-1. Aggravated criminal sexual abuse, VIC, means pretty much the age of the victim, not determined. Anywhere between the ages of 13 to 16 is what it says. That is what it is.
For so long.
Now,
you're absolutely right. Not determined. Why? Because it showed her in the police report being attacked at 12 years old.
Now VIC is a vicious maneuver. Aggravated criminal sexual abuse. It ain't just aggravated sexual abuse. It's aggravated criminal sexual abuse. Do you know what the difference is? That is. Let me ask you a question. Was you doing drugs or anything with the child?
I think that's an affirmative, Ernie.
No, I wasn't. There was no drugs involved. And
no drugs.
There was no drugs involved. It never happened. There was no sexual assault. There was somebody getting kicked out of the house, and I'll reveal that much.
Well, Rex.
Again, you might be able to detect that.
This is you, age 62, right?
Say that again, Ernie.
Age 62, right?
Now, yes.
Okay, hold on a second.
And like I said, I'm not afraid of talking to somebody rational about it.
Are you in Colorado right now?
Of course.
Wellington?
I'd really appreciate it, even though it's publicly available, not to put the address out. Thank you.
Well, then you're not compliant, but you're not compliant with the state right now. You're not compliant. Your address is different. Have you updated your address in the last 20 days?
When was I supposed to update my address?
You have to update your address. You have like 20 days whenever you move to update your address to.
Okay, so when did I move?
Hold on, I'll check this out.
Oh, okay.
Give me a second.
When did I move?
Right now, you need to check in right now, because if that's not your address on file,
I'd be in jail.
Well, I'm telling you right now, if you're not living in the address that you're saying it's on here, because I've got the updated address right here. Hold on, and I'll tell you. Hold on a second.
And how is that a violation?
We'll figure that out.
If I was in Canada and I didn't, you want to throw an if around.
If it don't matter. If you move from an address, you have 20 days to update your address to the Registered Sex Offenders, which is the NSOPW. NSOPW is the main thing. That's your National Sexual Registry. That's what that is.
With it. Whatever I'm doing, it must be legal, because guess what? I just registered last week.
Then good deal. Then
again,
you just registered. You just registered.
How is that a good deal? Is there any change?
That was the answer, Rex.
How is that?
That was the answer. I was asking. I'm just checking. I'm looking at it right here. As long as your address is updated, you're good. I don't know. I don't know about your case. Look, I don't know. Look, I don't know about your case. This is the first time I've ever met you. First time I've heard about you.
Oh, really?
But I'm looking. But 720 ILCS 5.0 12-1. And you was hold on a second, let me look right here.
Let's see. I'll see if I can find what you are looking for, because it doesn't count.
So everything. Okay, so here's the thing. Your results for state territory. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Your results for state territory, Indian country, all search performed is 3/8/25 at 11:09 a.m. So that tells me that's when I pulled up 3/8/25 at 11:09. So within 7 minutes, 5 minutes, I told him 5 minutes. I've been up here longer than 2 minutes. That I found out this right here about you. Okay, so what this is the DR. You need to understand this is the DRU SJODEIN National Sex Offender public website. Anybody can go to it and look at it. Anybody
I
can.
know that.
Now,
I
if
know
I click your name, let me say, if I click your name,
and when you got somebody as crazy as 303 out there claiming that he's seeing me talk to children,
Let's let Ernie finish.
and what's
is
really
all these your aliases? Whitfield Rex, Frederickson Rex Allen, Frederickson Rex
That's
A,
correct. That's
Frederickson
all his
Rex Allen,
aliases.
Warfield Rex. You're in the county of Larimer, right? Larimer.
That's correct.
6'3", 180 pounds, date of birth. You were
Yep.
born in 62.
aliases? I've never had an alias.
Tattoo on your left shoulder.
Tattoo on my left.
Your conviction date was April of 29th of 2003. Hold on a second, let me write this down. Did you plead out or was you convicted?
Oh, I pled because my father needed me more than the system did. Family before countrymen.
So you took a charge of to get yourself on the RSO because you're too
Because
busy
everybody knew better.
taking care of your dad.
Because everybody knew better.
That's probably what killed him.
Everybody I was dealing with at that time knew better, and it was irrelevant to me. I could care less what people say, and I could care less about what fake what fake police reports there are. I figured I'd take care of that later. But there's no corrective measures in Illinois.
Hey, Vic, can you Google this statute? Google this statute right fast.
Okay.
Can you do that real quick?
Yep.
This is something a lot of people probably won't get that I got here in this. 720
720
IL CS
CS
5.0.
5.0.
Yep. And then slash
/ or dash.
yes, forward slash.
Okay.
12-1.
12-1.
And hit enter.
Statute. So that is thinking. The statute 720 ILCS 5-12-1 refers to the Illinois compiled statutes, specifically under the Title 720 Criminal Offenses of Chapter 5 Criminal Code 2012. Okay, it goes on to say this is assault. A person commits an assault when, without lawful authority, he or she knowingly engages in conduct which places another person in reasonable apprehension of receiving a battery.
Apprehension. That's the key word there. Apprehension. Apprehension. This could have easily been filed up under a kidnapping charge as well, except where sexual abuse was in. It's aggravated criminal sexual abuse.
You see, you can't establish that, when you make a false charge up. It was never established. So now we have all these records that you can sit there and say, oh, well, there's a crime if this happened. But you don't. You have to use that word if. Now, if you go back and you actually read the actual police reports, okay, you're going to find out there's no mention of a crime there at all. It's complete. It's a complete fabrication.
Look, guys, anybody in the chat, I don't know this guy. I just met him, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah. And quite honestly, because like I said, you seem to be rational. You seem to be using logic. Okay. I'm not going to play games, and there's nothing to hide.
Ernie,
there's nothing I can hide.
Ernie, being the predator hunter that you are, can you verify to us and those at home watching that Rex is indeed a predator?
He's on paper. I mean, you're on paper for it. I mean, the thing about it is, I understand what it's like to plea out. I had to plea out. But I'm going to be honest with you. It would have took everybody in that jail to beat my ass. Literally. They would have had to beat my ass before I would ever plea out to a RSO. There's no way in hell. No way in hell. I would die. I would die before I would do that.
If it were any other case,
I would have stayed in jail. I would have stayed in jail. I mean, look, here's the thing. I don't know you. You don't know me. The thing about it is the NSOPW is going to tell everything about anybody, anything about anybody. When I run you through an NIC, it gives me 720 ILCS 5.0 12-1. that in Illinois. Now you have to understand. Google Illinois, and now this is real. Now this is really big too. People don't understand Illinois sex laws. Illinois has. Just Google it. Google Illinois sex laws, whether they're lenient or
Still
harsh.
got me
Just
muted?
do that.
No, you're not muted, Rex.
I'm not muted now. I can answer. I tell you what, instead of looking at all the laws, because we know there's laws against it,
Okay, so
why don't you
look
go
up
how I'm
Illinois.
guilty of it? Using those police reports, you can't. No lawyer has been able to do that. I've had some high-class lawyers look at that, and oh my God, it's the only thing I get out of them. Okay, so you go and you look at that, and I tell you what, you can sit there and put your reputation in front of the well-being of your family. I can't. I could give a rat's ass. I prove myself every day. For the last 20 years, I've proven myself. But these
Let me ask
idiots
you a question.
make up.
What kind of professional? I mean, what have you done professional? Like what kind of jobs? What kind of hobbies? What do you have?
Fabrication in aircraft, fabrication
Ernie,
in
he was actually in the military,
mechanic,
legitimately for just a small
63
amount of
Tango
time.
and the mechanic. I'm nuclear, biological, and chemically qualified. Let me see. I'm a professional in many different fields.
So you're considered in the chemical army chemical soldier. Pretty much, they call them dragon soldiers.
Well, I had to go through NBC training with the Bradley in order to show we could decontaminate things.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Hobbies. I ain't worried about that. Hobbies. What's your hobbies?
That's standard. It's standard.
What's your hobbies?
Hobby, radio control aircraft, investigative reporting. I've been doing that since I was 14. My father was the writer and editor for CB America magazine. And we took down a drug ring that involved the Dalton Police Department and a guy that was running a pawn shop over in Hammond, Indiana, and he was using the CB radio club and frequencies in order to tell people in order to come pick up and stuff like that. It got so obvious that my father started writing that into the CB America.
Were they using telepathy too?
I'm sorry?
Were they communicating telepathically as well?
I don't know. You're more better at that than I am, man.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I got my start in, investigation, stuff like that. My father was a licensed private investigator. He was also a special investigator with the FCC. He was called in when they had the tankers and the big boats that were in the harbor up there in Chicago, and they were transmitting back to Russia.
Weren't you a heavy equipment operator at one time
in order to be able to track down those signals and determine what boat it was on. So my family has all been tech. My father was involved in Operation Aphrodite's back in World War II. Look it up yourself. I'm not going to sit there and teach you history, but he was actually the technician that was there when the plane blew up on JFK's brother. He was injured in that same explosion. So
that's true, Evan. You inherited your dad's pilot's license. Remember you telling us that?
You have no idea.
Okay, so I got a question. I got a question on one of these reports. It just now come to my attention.
Okay.
If it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The word aggravated.
I don't know. When you make up something, you can make up anything. So I don't know. I don't know how
the object, and also the statutes say that you held her against her will for a period of time, not long enough for kidnapping. So did you? But listen, here's the thing: did you not allow this girl to leave the location?
Oh no, she got kicked out. She definitely left. You see, if an attack actually occurred, that's what you're asking. No, the attack did not.
The attack's it's aggravated. I mean,
No, there was no attack. That's on paper, dude.
Let me ask you a question. What was this charge originally before it was dropped down?
It wasn't dropped down.
It was the same.
Yeah, they wouldn't budge.
They never dropped this nowhere near.
My father was more important than any of this. That's correct.
I understand that. So you're looking at a Class B?
No, it was lesser than that. don't know what the
Class C.
I think it was Class C. That sounds more familiar.
Class C is 5 to 10 years. Class B is upwards.
Okay, well, obviously, I only got 3 years probation.
Okay,
So
hold up.
that was the mandate. You know, I mean, obviously, I was not guilty of what these guys accused me of, nor was I guilty of what they accused me of.
How long did you spend in jail?
I didn't.
You didn't do no time in jail.
Only on bail, which was almost 6 months.
Okay, so you almost done it pretty much like what they would call a state year in jail. So you also got credited at that time, correct?
No, I wasn't.
You had
time.
What's that?
I wasn't sentenced to the time.
No, but you get credit for the time you do in jail.
But I was never sentenced to time in jail. So I don't know how that applies. I mean, I'm not arguing with you.
So before you go to probation, listen, before you go to probation, you went to final sentencing, correct?
Well, that was my final sentencing, was probation.
Okay, so but you already done a 6, so you got credit for that. So what did they give you probation for? 5 years?
No, what the credit gave me, it was irrelevant. I was on probation, so no, without reviewing everything, I wouldn't be able to tell you what that is. And
right. Well, listen,
it wasn't.
What okay, so here's my example. They give me 1 for 2, okay? 1 for 2. I did almost a year in jail, which is a state year, which would have been 721. I did 6 months and 15 or 20 days. I can't remember exactly.
Were you guilty of what they charged you with, or was it an overzealous charge?
Okay, so I beat a Class C felony. Mine originally was a Class C felony. I beat the Class C felony, and then I had a Class D, and then I had a Class D felony. Listen, and then what they did is they took the C felony and dropped it all the way down to unauthorized use, showing that I kept the vehicle longer than what I was supposed to have it. That's all they got me for.
Okay, so
originally, it was receiving stolen property, 10,000 to 60,000. So I beat that. They dropped it down to unauthorized use, which is just a misdemeanor, slap on the wrist, a low misdemeanor. But the Class D felony was bail jumping. Bail jumping, I could have beat that because I was in the hospital for 31 days. I had that. But I wouldn't have been able to do that until trial.
Oh, didn't they?
And trial was over, and trial was at the end of August. I'd still be in jail because you wouldn't drop my bond.
Again. They still charged you with it, right?
Yeah, I got charged with it.
Okay, so you were guilty of that because they charged you with it. Is that the logic we're following?
No.
Oh, okay. So
I'm guilty to what I pled to, which is a lesser charge. But see, yours should have been. Look, here's the thing: in these cases, especially in these sexual cases, as we know with one of our own YouTubers, Rap, he was charged with rape originally. Okay, it was dropped down to sexual abuse. Okay, so that's how he just done his year, which he done pretty much a whole county year in jail, which a county year can range anywhere between 9 months to the whole fucking year. Just depends. He pled out to that. Of course, he's a registered sex offender because he pled out to it. What I'm telling you is, no matter who don't like me and what they say about me and who likes me and who don't, there's no way in hell you'd have to strap me down and beat me and kill me to make me plead out.
Okay,
to make me plead out to a sex crime of something.
That's nice. Okay. Back then, it wasn't that big of a deal. Now it is. Now everyone's a sex offender and all this other shit.
Well, it is now because of the combatant human trafficking and executive orders, President Trump. That's what's keeping.
Did you know that
what's keeping? Let me ask you a question. You know what's keeping P. Diddy in jail right now? The only thing keeping him in jail and not giving him a bond
I don't know who that is.
Because